I have a question. Whenever I unlock my phone, I open some social media app. What can I do differently in that moment? Oh, sometimes we have this habit. It's a very good question. ਜਦੋਂ ਨਾ phone ਖੁੱਲਦਾ ਹੀ ਆ, we just like sometimes we're mindless. We have certain brain patterns. Just like when you wake up, you might have a brain pattern. You wake up, you open the door of the washroom, you walk in, you pick up the brush, and you're not even thinking. You do ishnan, you brush your teeth, and like you tire the thought, and you're like, oh, I'm at school. So you do this when you're driving. Sometimes when you're just driving and you don't think where you're driving, you'll end up like at home, you'll end up at work or something. You're like, wait, why am I here? Right? So because you have sometimes we drive mindlessly because we built that pattern over time. And we've done it. If you go drive to work every single day, then sometimes if you were at one point, if you wanted to go to a place that was like on the route of your work, but it was like one turn the other way, you'll end up missing that turn because you're so used to going this one way. It's a brain pattern. So with your phone, it's the same thing. If you have a habit of opening your phone and you end up on the Netname app, like that would be an amazing habit, right? You're like, oh, I ended up on the Netname app and I accidentally ended up reading Sukhne Sahib. I actually meant to go on Instagram. Right? Wouldn't that be amazing? It's like you go on, you're just sitting there mindlessly scrolling and you just end up scrolling through all of Sukhne Sahib. That would be an amazing habit to build, right? You just end up, oh man, I just accidentally finished the Sajbot. I had a free weekend and I didn't even realize I was so bored. I just accidentally did a Sajbot, right? You could be scrolling, right? You could binge read Gurbani. But we don't build these sort of habits. Again, our mind is lazy, it requires efforts. You know the excuses. But that is the reason why you pick up your phone, you're mindlessly, you end up on social media, and then social media apps are made in a way to give you instant gratification, where you go on one thing, it takes longer for the video to load than it does to take from one video to switch to the next video. So if you're on Instagram, you're watching the reels or whatever, Instagram stories, it'll pause on it for 5 seconds and it'll skip to the next. And sometimes there's so much writing on it, a story, you have to pause with your finger, you have to read it, rather than if you're just there, because it knows that your mind has such a short attention span, you could get bored. So it quickly switches through. So your mind is like, what is next? What is next? What is next? That's that same pattern that these social media companies know that your brain works like this. Seriously, they've done so much khoj about your mind, you don't even know. And they use that to their advantage for ads and revenue and all that. So that's a whole different scenario. But my suggestion would be jumping into that and building that habit is like putting your hand down like a lion's mouth. It's like kam kharab hona hi hai. I'll tell you this. I've tried this. I've tried putting passwords on apps as well. But then you build a habit of typing in the password, right? I put that time limit on your app. You can only go on it for 3 hours a day. But then you end up skipping that as well. Okay, remind me later, right? So there's a lot of these things so there are certain things other apps and softwares that you can download that literally do not allow you to do it no matter what. So there's certain things like that. But really, galamanti. All you have to do is you have to be more conscious of what you're doing. Think about you're about to pick up the phone and you're conscious. If you keep your mind busy, if you have a plan that I need to be doing this, then your mind will not go through that and it'll end up going towards that project. So what I found, if I'm always in the mode, I'm hustling, bustling about, there's something needed to be done that's urgent, that's more important, that requires my attention, and I keep that at the forefront, then I'm less likely to go into a lazy state of mind, which is a Vikari state of mind. Why Mani Singh ji ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ Vikari ਮਨ ਹੈ ਵਿਹਲਾ ਮਨ ਹੈ Vikari ਮਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ. So you never want your mind to be lazy in that sort of way. You want to plan, even if you're relaxing, plan the way you're going to relax. Is it going to be listen to Kirtan? Is it going to be drink a cup of, herbal tea? What is it going to be, right? Plan the way you relax. Plan your break times. Plan all of these things. and then more so just become more and more conscious ਤੁਹਾਡੇ phone ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਆ. Ultimately you could just delete the app, right? That's like the proven method is just get rid of it, right? Ultimately and मैं अपनी गल दसदा, if I was not part of Prachar and had to be on social media to connect with Sangat or post things or do all that kind of stuff, to be honest, I don't think I would really have social media. मैं बहुत बारी अपनी जिंदगी में सोचा है. But then there are so many other things that, we need to connect to the phones, we need to do this. Mainly, really what it is, you have to be conscious. You have to be aware. When you're on social media, you have to be alert as if you're crossing a busy highway. That's how alert you have to be. Idhar udhar hona nahi chahiye. Any thought can enter your mind and can like distract you while you're sitting in a darbar. Sitting in a darbar is bahut dur di gal hai. You're going into Kaljug when you open these apps and you're like, I can just like let my mind free. You can't. You have to be very, very alert. What are you conscious? What are you looking at? What are you feeding yourself? What are you eating? You don't just walk onto the street and be like, just anybody put anything you want in my mouth. Like you don't just sit on the edge of the street and open your mouth and be like, put whatever you want, put it in. You're conscious of what you consume, but your mind is consuming social media. So just be conscious of it. That's what I can say.